My name's David, and the Chronological Bible Reading for August 29th is Ezekiel chapters 9 through 12. Just after the angel showed Ezekiel in the Spirit the elders of Israel committing all of these pagan practices and sun worship, he then speaks to the 6 executioners. Come up here. Each of them had a weapon in his hand, and it says they were the executioners of the city. Does every city have executioners? Angels of death ready to carry out God's wrath? Maybe this is where traditions of the Grim Reaper come from. But there was a 7th man among them, one who had writing instruments, and he is instructed to go and mark the foreheads of all of those people who are crying out and sighing because of all of the wickedness in that city. Yahweh said to him, "Put a mark on the foreheads of the men who sigh and groan over all of the detestable practices committed in that city." Are you and I marked? Do we cry out because of the wickedness that is taking place in our cities? Very interesting to note that it's the people who are fed up with the terrible things that are going on are the ones who are marked on their heads at the instruction of the Most Holy God. It reminds me of Revelation. Everybody wants to focus on the mark of the beast and avoiding the mark of the beast. In Revelation 13, it says, "Everyone, small and great alike, is forced to take this mark, and without it they'll not be able to buy or sell." Instead of being a Christian who's focused on running away and hiding and not obtaining this mark, which really signifies the things that we do with our right hand and the way that we think, let's focus on being the people who are marked by God as people who think the way He thinks, who see things the way He sees them. In Revelation 9, during the outpouring of the 5th trumpet and the wrath associated with it, locusts came out of the smoke that was arising from this shaft that came out of the center of the earth. And power was given to them like that of scorpions. They were permitted to torment but not kill the people of the earth, and they were also told that they could only harm those people who did not have the seal of God on their forehead. That word seal is like a signet. It's a mark of ownership. And the word forehead is quite literally the space between the eyes. Those who belong to God, who see the world through the filter of the Most High God, will not be harmed during the plagues of the Revelation. And the same was true in Ezekiel chapter 9. For the people who could not stand the sin of the world that was going on all around them. The way the people of God were identified was by the fact that they hated sin. In chapter 10, God's glory leaves the temple, and Ezekiel gets another vision of the 4 living creatures that seem to support the throne of God. And where they were described in chapter 1 as having the face of a human, an ox, an eagle, and a lion, here in chapter 10 they are described as having the face of a human, a cherub, an eagle, and a lion. He is describing the same creatures here in chapter 10 that he described in chapter 1, and they seem to be the same creatures John describes in the book of Revelation. But the difference here is that instead of an ox, which represents hard work, one of their 4 faces was that of a cherub. Many people believe the cherubim are an order of angels, but nowhere in the Bible is that stated. A cherub was placed outside of the Garden of Eden after Adam and Eve were kicked out so that they would not be able to find their way back in. Cherubs are often thought of as guardians because of that. In chapter 11, we get another vision of the corrupt leadership of the city of Jerusalem, and they have this famous line that says, "The city is the pot, and we are the meat." In other words, the most important piece of all that is taking place around here is us. They exalted themselves instead of humbling themselves, and as a result, wound up on the wrong side of a disagreement with the most holy God. It's always a danger when we think of ourselves more highly than we should. Yahweh speaks to them and says, you think you're the most important part, but actually the people you are killing are the most important part, and I'm going to take you out of it. Church leaders, government leaders, those who are elected or chosen to serve need to understand that they are not the most important part of anything. They are there to serve, and the whole reason they have a job is because of the people they are supposed to be serving. God hates injustice, and he will stand opposed to anyone who uses their position of authority to better themselves and harm other people. In chapter 11, verse 13, as Ezekiel is prophesying, one of the priests literally falls over and dies. And Ezekiel can't help but cry out and says to the Lord, the most holy God, there won't even be a remnant left if this judgment continues. God says, I will preserve a remnant, and I will give them integrity of heart. I will put a new spirit within them. I will remove their heart of stone and give them a heart of flesh so that they will follow my statutes. They will be my people, and I will be their God. And if you wanted to be counted among the faithful, friend, humble yourself. Don't be like the church leaders today who exalt themselves. In chapter 12, verse 21, God references a well-known proverb that was spoken during that day. It was popular for people to say, the days keep passing by and every vision fails. Just another day of the same old, same old. And God said, I am about to do something new in your midst so that no one will ever use this proverb again. Here we are 2,600 years later, and people are saying the same things today as they did then. It won't be long now. You who are faithful, hold on. It will be worth it. Keep going. Preach to yourself. Recite the word of God out loud to yourself with God as your witness. The time of your redemption draws nigh. God bless you, my friends. Thank you for being on this journey with me. We'll see you tomorrow.